Welcome back to another Real Talk with me while I get ready and talk about real things. Come along, so we get started. Okay, so it's been a minute. I'm sorry. Been a little busy this summer, doing all sorts of stuff like going to LAN, going to Missouri, coming back from Missouri, going to Missouri again, going back from Missouri again. I've been going back and forth, going to the Dominican, oh my goodness, for the wedding. If you haven't watched the vlog, you should go watch it. My family is quite the experience. I have been so stressed out this past, probably like month. I just feel like there's just like one thing after another, and it's just not been the easiest time, so that's probably why I haven't been doing real talks like I should be, because I do love doing these. But I have decided that I'm going to move to Houston starting in September, which, being a person that like hates change a lot, like I really hate any sort of change, and being in a world that's constantly changing, like it's not great for my brain. Probably because I can't control a lot of the things that are changing around me, especially with like where I'm at in my job and just like in my life. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to move to Houston to live with my sister, my older sister. She's like 16 months older than me. Her name's Annie. She's my mom.
You're a mod too? Do you pay these people? You guys, you need to unionize. I'm serious, bro. Y'all start demanding a cut.
She is just graduated from law school, and she's got a job lined up in Houston, and she wanted me to come move with her, and I said yes. You might wonder, Allie, you've only lived in Austin for a year. Why are you leaving? Well, I don't know. Well, okay, I do know why I like decided to, but it's not like the most fun of like reasons why. But I moved from Missouri like a year ago for the first time out of the state, the city that I grew up in, away from my parents for the first time, for a lot of change, and like hoping that I could find, you know, my own little grounding spot, my own little place to call home. And I do love Austin, but there's just like a lot of things missing for me here, that like hopefully my sister will like help a lot. But being alone a lot is not, you know, I used to hate being alone. Now I don't mind it as much. As it's really helped me like living in Austin, but it's still not like, I have my whole life to work and like to be alone and everything. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't have to be alone right now. I can go and live with my sister, so why would I choose to stay in Austin where I was alone? And you might be like, well, Allie, what about Lindsay? Or you guys probably know her as Lulu. You guys are good friends. Yes. Lindsay is probably the best thing that's come out of me living in Austin. I haven't made a friend like her in a while. We just like genuinely like clicked right off the bat, and she has been a saving grace for me in Austin 100%. But I also don't want to stay somewhere just for like one person, even though I love her. And I'll still see her. We have plans like all throughout the year, but it's not a good enough reason for me to stay somewhere where I'm alone the majority of the time. I feel stressed out with like rent and stuff, and like having a job that is very, you know, up and down. Like some months I'm like really stressed about paying rent and getting groceries and stuff, and a lot of that burden would be eased by like living with my sister. And so that's like ultimately why I'm going to do it, is because there's still like the same good like food options and everything that I do love about Austin. Like it's still all there in Houston, but just also with my sister. My sister also has dogs, Stevie and Margot, and so it'll be us four living in Houston. I think that like one of the biggest things that like I came to Austin for was like to find more friends. But being a streamer and working from home, it is really hard to make multiple friends. Like, it's just really hard when you don't leave your house. None of the other streamers leave their house. It's just, if your like friends aren't doing stuff and like constantly being around each other, it's really hard to make any connections that aren't like just temporary or like superficial and like genuine. I think that that's like one of the biggest like things that like I've struggled with, is finding like genuine friends. But I know that if I move to Houston, like I will still be friends with Lindsay. She is a good friend, and I'm very thankful for that, but everything else in between there just doesn't feel very genuine. There's a few other friends that I've made that I enjoy and I like, but it's just really hard to get close to anyone. Not like having a sibling is like living with you. This will not be my first time living in close proximity to my sister. Well, obviously we grew up in the same house, but Annie and I shared the same bedroom. Not only the same bedroom, we had a bunk bed that I ended up sleeping in her bed with her most of the time. So we have always been like super close. I think that I'm like the closest to Annie out of all my siblings. So I know that like being around her like will make me happy. And despite her dogs, I love Stevie. Stevie's like my little pumpkin. She loves me. But Margot's a puppy. Margot doesn't know me well. Margot is just very aloof. I'm sure you guys will love Margot. She's very cute, and I'll show you guys lots of her, but she just doesn't have a lot going on in the head, okay? She's not fully there, and she's always sick, so I'll be dealing with that, but it'll at least be better than just being alone all the time. Also, like, Annie will keep me very accountable. Like, my room shall not be dirty. I will not leave dishes around the house. Annie will literally kill me, which will be good for me. Like, her being so disciplined, I think I just need that. Like, ever since I left like high school, of like having a really strict schedule of like doing stuff, which I think is really relatable to people, like their motivation. I mean, it's just really hard all of a sudden. You're like, my whole life has been structured, and then you get out of like high school and away from like parents or whatever, you know, your responsibilities were, and then you're like, oh, like I have to make myself do all of this. Not good. I'm not very good at that. But Annie is. So hopefully all of those good things about Annie do rub off on me. I assume they will. But we'll just have to see. I'm sure Annie will be in a lot more of the content. But I think, you know, besides those reasons for moving, I'm just not wanting to be alone, being with my sister, like helping her start and grow, like it'll be a lot easier for both of us in the long run. And so I think that that's like one of my main reasons for doing it. And I can stream from anywhere, really. So I think I gain more from moving to Houston than I gain staying in Austin. But we'll just have to see, I guess. I mean, I'm sure I will tell you guys all about it. I'm horrified to move. I now have like a couch and a dining table and my whole streaming setup and everything, and I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna move all of this? Like, my parents were there the first time I had to move, and my brother, and so it's like, who's gonna help me lift all of this shit? Like, I don't know how to do that. But we will see about all of that. It'll all be fine. It's been stressing me out, but I've gotten some stuff in the mail. Thank you guys for buying some of the stuff on Throne for me to pack things like and organize them well. So hopefully it goes better than what I'm anticipating. The first time I moved, for the people that were around me when I did that, I had told chat, I was like, so I found out today that I'm moving in 5 days. So I had 5 days to pack everything and leave for Austin in the first place. They all thought I was delusional, but now I have way more time. I was gonna move in August, but it's been pushed back to September. So I have plenty of time to pack, so I don't need to be stressed. I just need to do it. I'll figure it out. That's one thing that's been like really stressing me out. But I know that everything will be okay. I'll probably break a few things, but who knows? I think all in all, those are my reasons. Those are the things that are stressing me out about moving. I told Lindsay yesterday that I was moving. It was not a very fun conversation. It was sad, but we both know that we'll be fine. I think that for the rest of the time that I'm getting ready, I've told chat about this a little bit, that I had a story to tell you guys, but I haven't had time to do it. And since I'm talking about Annie, I feel like this would be a good time to tell this story. Okay, so I've told you guys that when I was younger, I was not always the best kid. I mean, I had straight A's, I did sports, you know, I did all of the like the goody two-shoe stuff, but behind the scenes I was, you know, just, you know, running around doing God knows what. But this one story in particular, I'm talking about it because I'm gonna go move in and live with Annie. It involves Annie. For whatever reason, so when I was 16, my friends and I were at a Walgreens and we were just stupid, and we found this like giant 100 pack of like these random like condoms. They were like weird ones, like mint chocolate chip flavored, glow in the dark, like just like the most crazy shit. It's like if you were like in a Spencer's or something or whatever. And so we saw those at Walgreens and we thought it was hilarious. And so us being the stupid 16-year-olds that we were, we bought them. And so when I got home, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with these? Like, I've gotta hide these from my parents. Like, I wasn't gonna use them. I just needed to hide them. And so what I did, I don't know why I came up with this idea or how I came up with this idea, because TikTok wasn't really a thing back then. I had never seen, I don't know, great minds think alike, and because I've seen it since then. But I decided to cut a hole in the bottom of a teddy bear, and then to put the tube, like it came in like a tube, the tube of condoms into the teddy bear, okay? So I did this to like hopefully hide them from my parents. And so this is all fine and dandy. They had been there for months. Okay, this was probably in the winter, around the time of like November, December, like I had just started driving, whatever. And so then months later, my dad comes home, and he was the first one home, and my sister lives upstairs, and so there's like stairs by our garage, and there was a teddy bear ripped up all over the stairs. My dog had gotten into my room and had gotten that teddy bear, and obviously what was in that teddy bear. And so all over the stairs and all over my house were just ripped up teddy bears and condoms. Mint chocolate chip, glow in the dark, like condoms everywhere. Immediately my dad seemed to blame Annie, which they then found out that it was not Annie and it was me. But they blamed Annie, and Annie was beside herself because she was getting in so much trouble, whatever. And then I was accused, rightfully so. And I got grounded for quite a while. There's other layers to this story that are just so much worse on why I was in trouble for other things, but I'm not ready to share those as well. But it was not a good time for me to get in trouble with something else, is all I have to say. So I got banished from leaving the house, and I was given Christian DVDs about virginity and abstinence and celibacy and everything in between, and I was forced to watch them. And then I was ungrounded eventually, and you know, I went on about my day doing stupid shit. But that was probably one of the funniest times now looking back at it, and my parents now laugh at it. But I really wasn't using those condoms, so like it wasn't like I was like being that horrible of a kid. Just was really not a good way for my dad to come home to my dog ripping up condoms and teddy bears everywhere. So moral of the story is, if you have a dog, do not stuff things that you're trying to hide in a teddy bear, because it does not end well. So yeah, that's one of the best times that I've gotten in trouble. Wasn't the last. I'll probably tell you guys more stories about it when I talk about all of my siblings in one of these real talks, but that was quite the time. I think it still haunts my sister. I think a lot of the things that I did growing up really like affected her more than they affected me. Like every time I did something stupid or whatever, like she was always the one that like seemed more affected by it. But Annie was also always the one to tell me how it was, like to tell me what I was doing wrong and how messed up whatever I was doing at the time was. So I ended up lying to her a lot, and that affected our relationship quite a bit. Now we're fine, I don't lie to her about things, but when I was trying to get away and be a little sneaky teenager, it definitely did affect a lot of the things that were not good. Despite the fact that the first time I drank was with her. She was the one that influenced me to do that, but everything else that I was doing wrong was apparently her place to parent me on top of my already having parents. So, and then my horrible volleyball coach that was just a disaster. My volleyball coach one time called me into her office and told me that I was a bad person, and she didn't know that I knew that she had been having an affair for 12 years at the time. So I was sitting in her office just raging mad at her telling me that I was a bad person for whatever thing I did wrong. I think I yelled at someone, I don't know, like, I did something wrong, but for her to sit there and tell me that I was a bad person was really comical. So I had a lot of people trying to parent me along the way, Annie being one of them, but you know, here I am running back to Annie to parent me. Because I cannot do adult things. I don't want to do adult things. I can do them, I will still be doing them, she'll be really busy, but it won't feel as adulty, I think, like, while I'm living with her. Or at least I hope not. I just, like, if she figured out what we were eating a couple nights of the week, man, that would make me the happiest girl in the world, I think. But I think really there's probably a lot of good content and more funny stories, and Annie's a really good storyteller, so I'm sure that we will have a blast talking about things and sharing things with you guys, and I'm sure you guys will really like her. I'm excited about it. I am sad because change is hard. Nobody likes change, but I know that everything will be okay, and we'll have a whole new streaming setup, a whole new place to live. Hopefully new friends and more good stories and memories and everything in between. But I think that was all for this get ready with me. I'm not gonna do my hair because I never do my hair, but I think that is all. Please let me know what you guys want me to talk about in the next get ready with me. I'm open to any questions. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. And I will see you next time.